my dream, my vision for how I live each day. Right? Yeah. And so when COVID hit, because I should say prior to this, I was a hairstylist, right? So if I was still in the salon working behind the chair right now with COVID, I'd be losing money, I'd be stressed, I'd be freaking out. Like, how am I gonna make my bills? Like, I really worried about my hairstylist friends during this time. So for me, when COVID hit and everything, everything started to happen, I was immensely grateful that I took that leap, right? This was that moment where I was like, wow, I'm in a position to serve and support people. I'm in a position where my livelihood is not affected by this virus, right? And so it was really that moment of just being like, girl.
Get it.
Right? I didn't know 5 years ago what was coming, but I'm grateful that after a long period of ignoring myself, I finally listened, and, the benefit is showing itself here, right?
Totally. Actually, that goes into one of the questions I was going to ask you in regards to the vibrant lifestyle and how you live into your authentic truth and like just doing yourself. A lot of the people who come to me who are in my community, they really struggle with trusting themselves. Especially trusting themselves with certain types of people who have dimmed their light, who have made them not as vibrant as maybe they once were as children or in their early teens. A lot of the women that I work with at one point can remember themselves being like on fire and just like doing all the things, and then all of a sudden they don't even recognize themselves anymore. Yeah. So how do you build up that trust muscle for your intuition?
Okay, so baby steps, right? Before I began my journey as an entrepreneur, when I was still working in the salon as a hairstylist, I, right before my 30th birthday, it was my 29th birthday, and I was like, I want to live a healthier life, right? I want better tools, because I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. Nutrition, what?
Right.
So I wanted better tools. So I set out on this journey and somehow found myself in competitive fitness. And so much of sticking to the training, the workouts, was willpower, right? And so it was a kind of thing where I had to trust every little moment, every little thing, the process of getting there, right? So a lot of times when people are like, well, how do you start? How do you do that? Baby steps, the littlest thing, the littlest nudge, okay? Even if it's the nudge to wear a specific color shirt that day. Listen and do that, You don't know where maybe if you're a single gal, that color might call in the eye of someone, and there was a reason why you were supposed to wear that color that day or that shirt that day. You don't know. But it's starting to trust the little things, right? And so that's what it was with competitive fitness, trusting my training, showing up, right? That's where really like the baby steps, the building, right? And it's that continuous showing up. That was the big thing of training for these fitness competitions. It wasn't, I went to the gym that one day and I was ready to hop on stage, right? It was continuously showing up and realizing that the work builds on itself. I'm not going to be perfect day one. I'm not going to be perfect minute one. Okay? I'm not going to be perfect second one. And being okay with that. I really had to be okay with not being perfect, not having all the answers, not knowing. I had to be okay with being the beginner and just starting there, right? Yeah. And so if there's anything I can say is start small, but start. Whatever that looks like, it doesn't matter. Right. You just have to start.
Right. Yeah, that's so powerful. I find that especially when it comes to trusting our intuition, when we've been dimmed a lot, having those little moments of like, okay, well, there's putting push to wear this shirt. Maybe I should do that. But for those times where we start to think like, is my anxiety getting in the way of my intuition? How do you know the difference? Like, how do you discern between anxiety and intuition?
Perfect. This was one of my favorite workshops that I led last year, right? So I'm going to say right here, right now, it's so important to listen to your body. We can spend so much time up here in our heads. We can logic our way into things. I'm the queen of that, right? But there's so much to be said. And like I said earlier, I believe in a holistic approach, a mind, body, soul. So I'm calling on everybody to support me, okay? It's not just what I'm thinking. How am I feeling in my body, right? What is that like inner voice pulling me towards, right? And so that's where I think if you find yourself thinking so much to the point where your head is spinning, maybe your gut is upset, your tummy's upset, right? Maybe you're feeling the tension in your shoulders are up. That's my thing. I'm someone who, like, my shoulders clench and I'm like ready. I'm like, let's do this. I will knock you out. Like, don't do this to me. If you are there, that's anxiety.
Yeah.
Right? But if you are just open, free flowing, okay, you feel good, you're breathing good, you've got this spark and it just feels good inside. Yes, that's your spirit. That's your soul, right? That's the part I want to listen to. That's your intuition, okay? Because I'm a firm believer that our purpose here is to live a joyful life, right? So if I'm getting nudges towards things, although they might be scary, those nudges are going to push me towards my joy and the things that help me expand and live a vibrant life. Right?
I would agree. Oh, I love that so much. So good. I know one of the things, because I love that question too, you know, discerning between anxiety and intuition. And one of the things that I've discovered in my own journey is that anxiety is really loud.
Yeah.
It's calamity. It's like rumination, right? Whereas intuition is just like soft, gentle nudge, like, hey girl, you would look really good in that red shirt today.
Yes.
Put that on, versus you have to wear that red shirt. There's just a different clenching to it. And I think exactly what Miriam's trying to really get us to understand in this conversation is we have to feel into our bodies, right? We have to feel things more versus just thinking about things.
Yeah.
And that's the shift that I think most of us are looking to make. All right. So now let's get down to your journey, girl. I want you to tell me a little bit about, I know, right? Your journey to becoming the Miriam you are now. When was the moment that you knew that you were going to start on this road of healing?
So there have been many moments. I'm a firm believer that healing is an upward spiral. Okay. So I have had many different journeys to the Miriam now. However, each journey, because I'm stubborn, each journey has been kicked off with this idea of, no, there's got to be more than this. What I'm doing, this right here, this can't be it, right? So even with my journey to finally saying no, I'm going to burn down my old career, burn down my old life, move across the country, start building my business. That literally just came from this place of being fed up with myself, right? Like, the life was good. The life was amazing. I had built up a beautiful life, but it didn't spark joy. It didn't feel as fulfilling as I knew it could. Right? And so for me, I had run from taking the leap for a good decade. Right? And I think a lot of people can resonate with that. How long do we run before we finally take that leap? Right? And so for me, it was just being in that place of like,
yeah.
No, I had no more excuses.
Yeah.
Right? I had beautiful excuses for 10 years. I was a homeowner. After being a homeowner, I was in debt. Okay. After getting myself out of debt, I went back to school. Like, so I had beautiful adult excuses for why I couldn't pursue what my soul wanted. Right. And so it got to a point one day where I realized, hey, I've got no more excuses left. There's literally nothing left.
Yeah, no.
Nothing left. And so when you realize there's nothing left, that's when I had this moment where I was like, shit, it's literally me. I'm the reason. So that was all to say that I had to get over myself.
Yeah.
I had to get over myself. I had to get out of my own way. And then that's how this particular journey started.
So it was like this point of like admittance, right? Like accepting the fact that you were the reason why some of your life hadn't turned out in certain areas. And as hard as that is to say, you know, it's so hard to, we can't stress it enough. I feel like being in the coaching industry, like we're coaches because we've done the damn thing. Like we have also already done the walking down this path. And the only reason why we turned was because we decided to face ourselves, which was the scariest, the hardest truth that you'll ever even, like, I think, you know, face. But when you do, it's life-giving.
It is. And I think that's a perfect way to put it. It's life-giving. But let me just say this, because I think I'm not a big fan of all the love and light in this healing journey. There's a lot of dark and mess. I say that my power comes from my mess, from the things that I've been through, from my darkness, right? That's where the power was. But I had to get out of the love and light space and say, no, let's get messy. And so although I took that leap and got over myself, it still took time to find peace in that.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's one thing I want to say, that even if you are like, okay, let me do this. Let me get out of the way. Let me get on my healing game. Let me do the damn thing. It's going to be messy. And you need to be okay with that. Okay? Because if you're looking for perfection on a healing journey, you're playing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't ever get off this roller coaster, right? Like,
I'm addicted.
Once you start, the fun it's like a Pringles can. Once you pop, the fun just don't stop. And you just keep eating all the Pringles because you want the best version of yourself at every given moment. So you just kind of keep going down this path. So it isn't like this one-stop shop, this one fix thing. I think that's the one thing that frustrates me about the health and wellness industry. It's like, it's almost like this one-size-fits-all kind of mentality. You know, just think positive, just say your affirmations. While I still subscribe to those, don't get twisted, I definitely still love them. It's not the essence of what this journey is all about. You know, healing is so many layers, and healing is so impersonal. And once you can understand that it's personal to you, then that's where you can open up yourself to, like, the most incredible journey.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. A healing journey is a personal journey. I've been on it. You've been on it, right?
I'm on it.
Right. Excuse me. I am still healing. I will be healing till I die, okay? Because I love growth. I love growth. I love seeing who I can become, okay?
Yes.
That's what's got me here. That's what keeps me here. So you asked how I got here. I'll tell you what keeps me here.
Okay.
It's just continuously seeing myself evolve and the benefits of it. Yeah. Understanding that X, Y, and Z never happened before because I hadn't become the person who could do those things.
Right, right. Oh, that is so important. Mainly because sometimes we wonder, like, why isn't this thing happening for us yet? And a lot of the times the reason why it's not happening is because we really aren't prepared to receive what we're asking for.
Yes.
So especially when it comes to relationships, we'll just kind of skip to that part. Like, when it comes to relationships in particular, the reason why you may not have that relationship right now, the man of your dreams or the woman of your dreams, is because, are you really prepared to keep them? If you have all this anxiety that you're wrestling with, if you are constantly questioning yourself, your worth, if you're constantly insecure, the man of your dreams probably isn't insecure. And so if you're the insecure one, how would that match? Like, that wouldn't match well. So we have to be very mindful that sometimes the reason why we're going through these trials by fire is because it's the refinement period of getting us to where we want to be, right? To getting us to the things that we're asking for.
And I love that you said refinement.
Yeah.
Refinement, because that's why I think healing is an upward journey, right? An upward spiral, right? Because at each level, we have a deeper awareness and understanding of what it is that we're dealing with.
Yeah, definitely.
Coming up against, right? And so that's why, like, I'm here for this, because I love in the moment of healing, especially when things get messy. I don't love it.
Yeah, definitely not.
I don't love it when I'm sitting there crying, like, why?
Oh, y'all.
I don't love that, but I love the afterwards when I can see how much room I have created in my life based on allowing myself to feel, allowing myself to be a mess, allowing myself to see all the different layers, and then being able to be like, no, this can go, that can go, this can stay. This is staying right here. And now, if we're going to talk about, our man coming into our life or our partner coming into our life, I know I've created room for that.
Yes. Yes.
right?
So good. Okay, so the next part of this, you know, our healing journey, at least from my perspective, wasn't done just by me, right? So I had a slew of people in my corner, people I hired, people I walked with, God, you know, who were the support systems within your journey of healing as you were on this road?
Okay, so I've mentioned that I've had several different, I've got distinct parts of my journey, right? I would say that there was a distinct part of my journey in my early 20s. Then a little bit later when I hit about 24, 25, and then mid-20s hit. And that's really when I realized that a lot of the people that I had around me weren't necessarily meant to go on the journey with me forward. Right? So in order to call in the right people, I had to let go of people who were no longer equals or beneficial to the journey, right? Which was hard in itself, right? Because that was its own thing. So moving through all of that, I'm someone who had a life coach at 26. I had a fitness coach when I was doing the competitive life. I had a business coach when I started this business. I had a spiritual mentor in the very beginning of building my business as well, right? So I'm really big on calling in support from people who are either ahead of me on the journey.
Yes, there we go. Oh, so important.
Calling in people that were ahead of me on the journey.
Yes.
Right? And not just anybody, because
Right.
not everybody's input is worth it.
Yes.
Okay? People that I admired, people who had been through the mud already. Right? Because I don't want you telling me nothing if I can't see where you've been.
Right. Right.
That's just who I am. I'm going to look at you like, and who are you to tell me anything?
Right. Well, it's so true. I think, I'm a coach, I'm a therapist, I've been doing this work for a very long time. And I love my friends, and they definitely want my advice. They want my advice. Right. You think they listen to me? No, they don't listen to my ass, even though this is what I do for a living. And that's because the relationship is so different versus
Exactly.
having like a mentor, somebody who is like farther ahead in areas of life that you really admire. And they've been through the mud and you've seen their journey and you're like, yeah, you're worth investing in, because investing in them is investing in yourself, right? Investing in where you're trying to get to. So yeah, I just it's so imperative that you find somebody that you admire who's doing the thing that you want and the thing that you hope to have fall into your life.
Now, I do want to add this, because I do think your ride or dies, your friends who have been there for you, can support you on the journey.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, those are the people that, maybe you turn to and just be like, I've had a tough day, and you know that they're going to be able to listen to you and support you emotionally, right? But on the journey, if you have a specific mission, I think it's important to have somebody leading you.
Yes.
If you're open to it, I think it's important to have somebody leading you who's ahead of you.
Yes.
Okay? Who knows the pitfalls, all of that. So I think there's room for both if you allow there to be.
Oh, definitely. That was a great distinction, because it's true. Like, our friends are our cheerleaders. They're our validation team, right?
There you go.
The purpose of having friends, the reason my friends didn't listen to me is because I didn't necessarily tell them what they wanted to hear, and they just needed me to be a friend, not a coach. Yeah. So it is so different. A leader versus your cheerleader team, that's just so imperative. And I think all of us who have found success on our healing journey, who have taken things to the next level, have had some sort of person that we pulled into our system to help us get to that next level.
I'll tell you, I love my ride or die friends. I love the support system that I have built up, because they're the ones who remind me on this journey how far I've come. They know where I've been. They know what I've been up against. And they can say, hey, girl.
Yeah, right? So good. Okay, so if you guys are tuning in, make sure you let us know that you're here so we can just give you a little shout out. We're going to dive into Miriam's, like, what she does. And so if you have any questions, feel free to actually put any questions or comments or whatever in the link. What is it? The comment box, whatever. Technology. It's so hard. Okay. So
Talk to me.
tell me a little, hey Meredith, what's up, girl? Love you. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what I find to be very interesting is,
Okay.
so the stress management, mind, body, soul approach.
Yes.
Now, you guys, I understand the mind and how that fucking freaks out. Oops, I said the F word, I apologize, whatever. And I also know how the body responds to stress. Tell me a little bit about this soul business. How is that incorporated?
Okay. Okay, I'm like, where do I want to start? Okay, let me make this simple. Frustration. Okay, frustration. Let's start there because I think that's something we all can relate to, being frustrated with life, right? And so I'm a big believer that frustration comes from our soul, our spirit, being like, girl, what are you doing? You are not aligned with your truth. You're believing something that is a falsehood here. So we get frustrated, right? Right? Because we're believing something that is not aligned with who we are. Right? And so if you are dealing with a lot of frustration in your life, chances are your stress level on top of that has gone up. Right? So that's why I say I take a mind, body, soul approach to stress management, and I help my clients come in line with themselves. So maybe it's more of a spiritual aspect to stress management, right? Because I want you to be centered with yourself, trusting yourself, listening to that voice, understanding that frustration doesn't mean you're messing up. I'm a Bostonian, so I want to let these F-bombs fly, okay? But I'm being good. Good girl. Okay? So frustration doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. That's your soul just being like, girl, bruh, there is something else you could be believing that would empower you. There's something else that you could be doing that would get you where you want to be. The stuff you're doing right now is not it. But the thing is, if we're not in tune and understanding that's what's happening, we're looking at frustration and we're falling deeper into it. We're judging ourselves for being frustrated. We're putting ourselves down for being frustrated. We're limiting ourselves because we're frustrated. Where frustration really can be a tool that opens us up. That gives us that moment where we can pause and be like, what am I believing? That is not my truth.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? What am I believing that is not my truth?
Do you guys hear that? What are you believing that is not your truth?
Repetition, that's how we get things up in this brain, okay?
Yeah.
That is not your truth, okay?
Yeah.
If you start there, you'll start a whole new journey in your life. You'll start approaching life differently.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you realize that the priority is your truth. Not this BS out here that you've been believing, not the limitations that have been put over your life that you've been believing, okay? Wherever those limitations came from.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that a lot of the people in this space, a lot of our limitations have come probably from our families, from unhealthy relationship dynamics, from toxic friends or coworkers or colleagues. So, just like, why are we believing someone else's perspective or opinion about who we are?
Right. You know what set me free? One of the things that set me free, when I learned that that negative voice in my head that's beating me down isn't mine. Isn't mine. Chances are it's the voice of the person who tormented me or stressed me or put me down growing up. And I've held on to and given so much validation to their words that now it's become my voice and I don't know the difference.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that set me free once I realized that these limitations, these words, these things that were popping up that would keep me small, keep me frustrated, keep me sad, weren't mine. Whole new world opened up.
Totally. I think that that's so good because I have a really great exercise, and I know Miriam also knows this exercise too. But if you have a limiting thought coming into your head and you know that it's like some nagging thought that's not really anything that you really want, just ask yourself, does this belong to me? And if it gets heavy, then it belongs to you. And then you want to say, I clear this out. I delete this, right? We're like deleting program.
Right.
If it gets lighter, then you say, return that to the field of oneness, or return that to love, or return that to sender, whatever you choose.
Return to sender.
Well, I was, you know, it's so funny because I used to return to sender, but then one of my energy spiritual mentors, she was like, well, like, do you really want to just pass it back and forth between senders? Like, no.
Oh, no, because it's blocked. It's blocked. I returned it. I said, no more forwarding mail over here.
And I didn't want to send it back to the person it came from. So she taught me to send it to the field of oneness. So, but return to sender is also good too. It's really easy to say because we obviously have mailboxes. So it feels like it fits. But such a great exercise. I know a lot of my clients have found so much value in just that little thing. Hello.
Yeah, I know. I just want to let you know about my battery, you know.
Gotta be on that. Oh, you know what's so funny? My battery on my phone actually just died too. It's dead. I can't see anything. So if you have any comments,
I still got the laptop up here, so I can
okay, cool.
see what's on
If
there.
you have any comments or whatever, Miriam, she'll answer directly from her computer. Okay.
I got this part.
Okay, so now I kind of want to get into how you fell into astrology. One of your core, like, I mean, I know it's just huge, based off of how I know you, it's just like a huge part of who you are and like how you navigate the world. So tell me a little bit about that journey and how you use it personally for yourself. And how you use it for your clients.
Okay. So I've always been that girl who just loved the stars. Okay, just love the stars, just love knowing that there was more out there. Okay, and I can remember being like a preteen, and my grandmother sent me a subscription to 17 magazine, and as soon as I would get it, I'd flip to the back and look at the horoscopes, right? But then guess what? We become an adult. We have adult responsibilities. I can't be diving into this stuff. I don't got time for that, okay? And then 5 years ago, I started my business, and, you know, I was no longer working 60 hours a week for this, that, and the thing. And I had a little bit more time on my hands. So then I had time to start diving into my interests. I had time to start diving into things that have always just been on the back of my mind, and I wanted to know more, right? So that's where I really started diving into astrology, really understanding that astrology is just a whole other language. And once you understand the language of it, right? Which is so complex. There's so many
complex.
So being so complex and being this whole other language, it wasn't like I could just touch surface level. Because, you know, sun sign, then moon sign, then I got a rising sign, I got a Mars sign, I got a Mercury sign. What is going on here?
I just found out that there was more than one sign literally 5 months ago, y'all. So if you are also just kind of new to this journey, like in discovering other interests, like I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Which is why I gravitated to her so much, because you just have this spark about the way that you share the knowledge, which I appreciate.
When she says I have a spark, she means that I bombard her DMs.
Just a low key.
Info about what's happening in the cosmos. I'm like, girl, it's not your fault. Mars is retrograde. She's at home in Aries. That nuck if you buck energy. Like, just be careful about what you say to people, okay? Everything doesn't have to be a fight. And so you asked how I apply astrology to my clients. It's that right there. It's
okay.
like, yeah. It's like, girl, this is what's happening around us. So you can either fall into the energy and get dragged, or you can flow with the energy and understand that, okay, maybe it's time for me to be mindful of my words. Maybe it's time for me to have a little bit more compassion. Maybe it's time for me to just be kinder to myself. Okay? Maybe it's just time for me to be kinder to myself. That's a lot of what things come down to. How can I just be kinder to myself? How can I have more compassion for myself? How can I show up in that space of love for myself that I want other people to be showing me? Yeah.
I know. Drop some mics over here. That's crazy.
Who knew? So, yeah, that's a lot and a little bit about how I tie in astrology. And like I keep saying, I believe in a mind, body, soul approach. I believe in a holistic approach. I see us as whole beings, right? So if I'm going to bring in astrology, I'm going to bring in the whole kit and caboodle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see you as the whole person that you are, not just your sun sign. Okay. And then let me also say this, that depending on the type of appointment that gets booked with me, there's going to be a questionnaire, and I might ask what your sign is. If you know it, I'm going to ask, because that gives me insight in how I need to approach you, because not everybody is the same.
Right.
Not everybody is going to be up for Miriam all in their face in their business, like, girl, what are you doing?
Right.
Some people need me more to just fall back a little bit and let them have the reins and know that I'm here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you being a Taurus, I need to let you have the reins, and then you know where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or
maybe maybe where some of my more emotionally centered clients, maybe the water signs, my Pisces, Scorpio, and oh my gosh, why am I Cancer? Oh my God, all my friends are Cancer, so I'm sorry, guys. Ashley's still here. She's like, how are you to forget about us? But those peeps are going to be so much more in tune with their emotions and their feelings, and they're probably going to feel things more deeply than they need to, and they need me to pull them out of that. Right? And so that's how I can kind of, before getting to know a client, know some of what I'm up against.
Yeah. Does anyone ever surprise you?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, right? Because if I just know your sun sign, I'm missing out on a lot. I'm missing out on a lot, because then there's your moon sign. Your moon sign is how you handle emotions and relationships. I'd rather know your moon sign than your sun sign if we're working together.
Okay.
Right? But not a lot of people know that, right? Not a lot of people know what their moon sign is. I think people are becoming awakened to all of this. So they're learning, like, yeah, I'm a moon in Capricorn. And they're like, right? So it's just the layers to it all.
Well, I was going to say, I think my moon sign is Leo.
Okay, you want to get into that?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, but hang on. Make sure it's good tea you're spilling. I'm just kidding.
No. So Leo, first and foremost, being a fire sign, you're passionate, right? So if your moon sign is a Leo, then you have passionate emotions, right? So that's how all of that would work together, right? And so then you as my client, I would know that you're going to have a tendency to maybe wild out a little bit. I mentioned that knuck if you buck energy, okay? That's what I call my fire signs, knuck if you buck.
Just a little. Everyone.
Just a little. So your emotions might run hot. You might have a lot of passion in your relationship, right?
Yeah.
Tea. So.
That's why we work. I'm just kidding.
Hey, look. But knowing those things, I know how to now approach you as my client and how to not hit trigger points. Right? So for you, if you're naturally inclined to just be passionate, I'm not gonna dim that. No, I'm gonna work with that. I'm gonna stoke that fire. Yeah. Right?
All right, guys, you hear straight from Miriam's mouth. Just knuck if you buck energy over here, passion, fire.
So because I put you on blast, I'll put myself on blast real quick. So I have a Libra moon, Libra being an air sign. So my sun sign is Aquarius. So I've got like this double air sign thing going on, right? So for me, I don't necessarily feel the emotions like a water sign might. I'm going to think and logic my way through emotions.
How has that served you?
It doesn't.
Had to ask.
It doesn't. But I have to constantly remind myself to check in with how I'm really feeling in my body. I spend a lot of time up here. Because air signs are about mindset, communication. I'm up here 24/7. Okay? My saving grace is that my rising sign is a water sign. So there's where some emotion can come through. Okay? That's where that can happen. So if I know that I've been spending too much time up here, which I have been for the last couple of weeks, I'll spill that tea on myself. I've been up here too much. Just the other day, I realized, I was like, girl, you need to fall into this body. Your body has been going through the emotions, but you haven't been going through it with her.
Ooh, ooh, okay.
Right? So I've got this disconnect that I have to check myself on and really sit there and get to my practices that help me center into my body again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right? Because yeah, it's great to logic and think my way through things, but as we know, there's so much more to this world around us that I'm missing out on if I stay up here.
Right.
I'm missing out on the subtleties that happen in my body and the energetic field around me.
No, so that's so
Hey,
important.
Jackie.
Well, that's so important because especially when you're dealing with like something like trauma, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times when we deal with trauma, I would say a majority of people somehow dissociate, and maybe they sign or not sign, whatever their preference is, I guess. Most people still go into their head, right? They're trying to rationalize their way through this. And if you are maybe a more emotional sign, then you are completely disconnected from your feelings, and that's how you make sense of the world, right?
Yes.
And so it's so important that we always kind of check back in with our bodies, because I know so many people who dissociate from their feelings because feelings feel scary.
So let me just say that, spill some more tea on myself. Although I'm saying that I'm an Aquarius as my sun sign, and I'm a being logic and being all up in the head, right? Aquariuses are also known for detaching, right? But these are the things that when you know the characteristics, okay, I know it's super easy for me to detach. We could be having this conversation right now and I'll just go somewhere else, like, but this is a good conversation, so I ain't going nowhere. But that's
Thank
part
you.
of it, right?
Yeah.
Just knowing, right? And like I said, there's levels to the whole astrology game, right? Because then it's like, okay, we got air signs, but then we got fixed signs. gang, we're fixed signs, so we can be really stubborn, really stuck to our morals, right? And our ideals and our beliefs. We can really get stuck and frustrated there. So if I know I have a client who's a fixed sign, I'm going to be coaxing you out, okay? But not too much. Not too much. Kitty gloves, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot of stroking the ego before you start coaxing me out. Like as a fixed sign.
Right, you've been doing a great job. You're doing so amazing. I saw this thing one day, though.
Exactly. That's exactly how it has to go. And I think this conversation is so fantastic because it's more knowledge, right? Astrology, I think even Miriam, she told me, she was like, it's just an extra tool. It's just a tool in our tool belt. It's not supposed to be something that we're like fixated on or that we're like using to like describe our entire existence. But it is just an extra tool in our tool belt in order to help us navigate the world around us.
Tools. That is a big thing for me. I know when we first met, you were like, girl, what are you about? And I'm like, literally, I'm about everything. Yeah. I just want to have the tools to support my person wherever they are. So yeah, astrology is my jam. It doesn't have to be yours. Right. It doesn't even have to resonate with you. But the tool in my toolbox that helps me understand and navigate you as a whole person, not just what you're showing me. Because that's a lot of my job, is looking past what you show me and really getting to the meat of things and what's here for us to develop and nurture and work with. That battery.
Okay, so I have another question for you.
Yeah.
How do you think your clients would describe you?
They call me the bully BFF, okay? I got them on the block. They call me the bully BFF, okay? My clients know that I'm coming with a straight talk, but I'm only saying things out of love. Like, I'm not here to tear you down like a bully. I'm here to push you to where you want to be. My clients set the tone, and then they know I'm at them, okay? One of my clients told me yesterday, I'm no joke. I'm not playing games. You didn't hire me for the games, okay? So I'm not here for, I'm here for big personalities, strong personalities. If you can hang, we're good. We're good. But yeah, bully BFF, I'm here. We're doing work. There's no games being played. Once you sign up, you better be ready.
Right.
Right?
You're trying to get to the next level, right? You didn't hire me for a reason. You hired me for the reason to get to the next level. Okay, so then what are the main reasons why clients come to you?
Okay, girl, let's do this. The main reasons clients come to me because they are sick of where they're at. Okay, they're sick of where they're at. They need that push. They know that there is something more for them, and they're ready to put in that work to get there. Okay, my clients have a vision. My clients know where they want to be. Okay, I'm not working with anybody who doesn't know where they want to be. That's not my gift. My gift is getting you there, keeping you on track. Okay, providing the tools. That's what I've been putting in work for. So when it comes to the people who hire me, you've done your work to get to the place where you're ready to dive in. Okay. Yeah. My clients might be scared, but they know that where they've been is not where they want to stay.
Right. Right. And they have some level of a clarity of vision, right? Like they kind of have an idea of where they're headed, you know, where I think the people who come to me they just know they want to get out of where they are, but they don't necessarily know where they're going. And yeah, so that, I mean, that's really important because understanding who vibes well with you, who works the best with you, who you know that you can get those results for is like half the battle.
And it's all about the vibe. It literally is all about the vibe because I'm not here to work with everybody. If you're watching, I'm not here to work with everybody, okay? I'm here to work with the people who resonate with what I'm throwing down. And I see that they're ready to throw down. Okay? Those are my people, okay? We're ready to do work.
Love
Because
it.
otherwise, you're really not gonna like me. And I'm okay with my clients not liking me, but you're really not gonna like me if you're not ready to work. Because you're gonna be like, why is she at me every day? Like, how are you doing? What's up? Okay, bully BFF.
Remember, bully BFF. But she'll get you where you need to go.
Yeah, and faster than you thought it could have happened.
Ooh, yes, 100%. Okay, so now, because today we're in this new moon energy, why don't you spill the tea on what we should expect and how we should prepare ourselves for the manifestation game to come?
Okay. It's funny because I love new moon energy. New moon energy is kind of my favorite. I mentioned earlier that my powers and my strength come from my darkness, right? From the things that I've been through, from pain that I've been through. That's how I'm able to relate on deep levels with my clients, right? Because more often than not, my clients are coming with stuff. So new moon energy is, if we think of full moon energy, we've got the brightness of the sun. That's like a brightness of the moon. We've got a celebration, right? New moon energy is dark. Okay, it's dark, it's sultry, it's sexy, right? That's kind of why I like it, right? If we think about when we plant seeds in the darkness. So I love making that comparison when it comes to new moon energy. New moon energy is all about planting those seeds in the darkness, being clear about what it is we're trying to create, and then getting intentional, right? So right now where we're in this new moon energy, this is your time to get clear about what it is you're trying to create, where you're trying to go, what you want for yourself, okay? Getting clear and then saying, what actions am I ready to take? And that's the intentional part. Well, I'm ready to show up more. If my client said, oh, I'm ready to show up more, I'm gonna be like, what does that look like?
Right.
Okay.
Clarity, right? Clarity around.
Let's go deeper. I'm huge on self-awareness. Have that awareness. It's great to have these surface level, but what are the details? What are you willing to do?
Yeah.
Right? And so it's that new moon energy because it's dark. We have the time. We can kind of go, it's going inward. It's going inward and realizing, okay, what seeds am I ready to sow?
So I'm so sorry. I was going to ask you this because one thing that I know was a struggle for me in the beginning of this journey, and I know it's a struggle for my community, is what if you don't even know what you're asking for?
Okay.
How do you tap into that energy to find some sort of, to find trust that you can ask for what you want?
Almost everyone wants to be happier. Okay, so start there. What's going to make me happy? What things make me happy? What activities make me happy? What are those moments where I just feel happiness just overflowing out of me? Right? If you're clear about those things, then you can replicate them. Now, for me, so many of my clients come to me saying they don't know what makes them happy, right? So much of our work is just getting clear and coming back to that. So I will share this. If you are someone right now who's hearing me and you're like, well, I don't know what makes me happy. You're not alone. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up for not knowing, okay? There's no shame in not knowing what makes you happy, because chances are you've spent a life where you had to keep everyone else happy. That's why you left yourself in your own happiness.
Yes, right there. Right there.
So what I love to tell my clients is think back to what made you happy as a child, okay? The only thing that's changed is that you got bigger, you got snootier, you thought, oh, being an adult means X, Y, and Z. No, okay? The things that lit you up and gave you joy as a child can still do that now, okay? So there's no shame. I have a client who went and got roller skates.
I literally was thinking about roller skates and how roller skates are kind of coming back on the scene right now. That's really funny.
She got herself some roller skates, and that was her self-care. I said, that's your self-care then. Anytime you are feeling outside of yourself and need to come back home, your joy is your landmark on that journey. That joy is that pin on the map, okay? So get your roller skates, get out in your driveway. I don't care who's driving by and watching you. You go put yourself in that mode of being a beginner and enjoying the process, okay? And that will bring you back, okay? I'm not great at remembering this, though, for myself, so.
It's so much easier to teach other people, and then, and then we remind ourselves when we're in the thick of our tantrum, like, oh, wait, I have all the tools. I can do things, That actually happened to me today, guys. I'll be honest. Like, I totally had a breakdown today. Things weren't going my way. I'll blame it on Mars. Is that Mars energy? Got all fiery. And then I realized
your freak out was probably the Mars energy.
Yeah, my freak out was the Mars energy. And, but then I realized I had tools, I had support system. Miriam checked in with me to make sure I was doing okay. Like when you are on this path, it's like when you learn these things, they are always there. And that's what's so beautiful. The thing is that you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes you don't know that you can ask for what you want. Sometimes you don't know that you can find joy in doing something that you did when you were a kid. Sometimes you don't even know that you're so disconnected from your feelings that you don't feel anything anymore, right? Whether it's joy or sadness. And a lot of times we do that. You can't selectively numb emotions. So everything that Miriam's talking about is like dropping back into our body, right? Getting back into our spirit and aligning more with our soul so that we can have physical health, mental health, and soul health, right?
Okay.
So good. So good.
Because you are a whole entity.
What? A whole entity. Crazy.
A culture that just sees one side.
Yeah.
And prioritizes one side, which leaves us disconnected from all of these other superpowers that allow us to show up fully and at peace with ourselves.
Yeah. So if we're planting seeds for the new moon, is there anything that we should do? Should we like plant these seeds and like burn a piece of paper or put it in a jar, all the little spells?
So I'm a firm believer that your belief is what gives things power. Okay? So here's a perfect opportunity to trust yourself and your intuition. There's no wrong way.
Ooh.
What calls you? What speaks to you? Because maybe lighting something on fire doesn't speak to you. Why do it? Why? Right? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Especially if your power comes from your belief in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay? So no matter what, and I know especially on Insta, there's all types of posts that say, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. For me, if you don't believe in any of that, then what's the point?
Right.
Do what calls you to do. Go where you are led and trust that it's right for you because it's what came from here.
Yeah.
Okay? Because there are more than enough platforms out here on social media telling us that things need to look this way, that way, blah, blah, blah. And we then in turn disconnect ourselves. We discredit ourselves. We walk away from ourselves because we give our power over to what this person set out here.
Mm-hmm.
But that person isn't living your life. That person doesn't know what you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
They could be asking you to do something that triggers a wound. So no, I'm a firm believer in, yeah, I can give you these guidelines. I can say X, Y, and Z, but at the end of the day, you have to do what speaks to you and resonates with you. So maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's meditating on your intentions. Okay? Maybe it's going for a walk underneath the new moon and just feeling her glow on your skin. Right? Let that be enough. Let that be enough. If it feels like enough for you, that is good enough. Personal journeys. Personal journeys. I'm a firm believer that self-care, because I view this as self-care.
Yeah.
Self-care is a personal journey.
Totally.
Nothing to do with anybody else.
Right. Oh, I love that. And it's so authentic, right? Like going back to your core values, right? It's authentic, truest depiction of who you are. So since we are kind of running out of time, I really want you to, like what you did in the beginning for you and for me was this. Oh, Miriam, are you still there? Fiddly D, oh, that's really sad. Her computer might have gone out. Well, what she did for me, if she's not able to come back, one thing that she did for me was she did this beautiful like rampage of just really powerful affirmations to get us back, like get us prepared and ready for this. And so I wanted her to give the same thing to you. And since she's not here, I'll just kind of do what she did for me. So you are powerful. You are incredible. You are amazing. You've got this. No matter where you are or what's going on, you will find a way through whatever pain that you're going through. You are an incredible being that is filled with so much power and tools that you may not even recognize, like how much you really have in alignment already. You are incredible. You are beautiful. You are deserving. You are worthy. Trust yourself, trust your intuition, and allow things to naturally show up for you and help you find your way through. I'm going to have Miriam attach all of her information to this link or to the post so that you can find her and reach out to her and work with her if you feel like you want to, because she is an incredible being and I'm so grateful to have her in my life. Thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for next time we decide to do something like this. All right, bye. I'm still here. I'm waiting to exit.